Well, good evening and welcome to Oschersleben for round 2 of the Crest Autosport DTM 2020 Championship on Raceroom. This league is proudly sponsored by the GP Box, the online store for motorsport merchandise and memorabilia. And the prizes for this league are presented by lovely stickers and 3M UK. Tonight's track, Oschersleben, as we mentioned, in East Germany. Tonight we are driving on the motorcycle A course, 2.2 miles or 3.6 kilometres if that's your measurement system. It costs £2.65 on Raceroom, so if you are a Raceroom fan and an Oschersleben fan, get yourself the circuit for that very reasonable price. 14 turns, 7 to the right and 7 to the left. It's a track where it feels like there's more than 14 corners. It's such a twisty track. So very challenging on the drivers today. It's hosted over the years many World Touring Car races, many European Touring Car races, and of course DTM for such a long time, being one of the most popular venues in Germany that is not on the Formula 1 calendar anyway. Tonight's itinerary consists of qualifying 10 minutes in length. Race 1 will follow immediately as a 10-minute sprint race where the grid is based on the qualifying results. Race 2 will be followed immediately after Race 1 with another 10-minute sprint race, but the grid is based on a reverse 8 of the top 8 finishers from Race 1. So if you finish 8th in Race 1, you're on pole position. If you finish in first in Race 1, you start 8th for Race 2. We have a quick break and then we'll be back for the 30-minute feature race where there's triple the duration, there's also triple the points for the drivers, and the grids there are also based on qualifying. The weight ballast as well in that race will be based on qualifying as well. So if you qualify on pole, you're having the most weight in race 3. This is how the season looks, with Brands Hatch started off all them weeks ago on the 5th of January, and this season this league anyway is back-to-back between 92 and 2020. They're two separate championships, but there's also a combined where we'll describe the championship situation so far in a moment. But DTM week at the moment, week 4. Last week we were at Zandvoort for the 92s, and 2 weeks ago was round 1 of the 2020s at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Today, Oschersleben. Next week in the 92s will be at Zolder, and 2 weeks time for these 2020s will be at Lausitzring. So, here we go, practice is already underway. The drivers taken to the track to get some laps in, get a bit of experience of the track, and just get to grips in general, really. So, the cars we've got in store today, there's only 2 cars in the DTMs at the moment, the Audi RS5 and the BMW M4. Both with the exact same power, same weight, including driving the same engine. So very similar cars. The only difference really is handling characteristics. So we'll go through the points. This is what happened 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch for the opening round of the DTM 2020s. William Foyle took pole position with Jeff Purkis right behind him. Stefan Navalov took second from Jeff Purkis, and Alex Foyle nipping into the podium spot for Heat 1, but William Foyle started the flag, led it and won it. Heat 2, Alex Foyle rose to the occasion, the Foyle brothers dominating things as it were thus that far in race 2. William Foyle in 3rd place, and Ben Payne with his first podium in Crest Autosport Leagues took 2nd place in race 2. Then the feature race, it was a very, very frantic battle between Mark Hayman and William Foyle throughout the race, but it was a mistake from William Foyle thinking the race had ended, but it hadn't, and without the checkered flag being waved, Mark Hayman took the lead and won the race. William Foyle taking 2nd in the end, with Paul Hans coming through in 3rd in that 30-minute race. After that, this is what the championship looks like in the 2020s. William Foyle came out as winner, having finished on the podium 3 times that night. All 3 steps he had taken throughout the night, in fact. But he leads by only 8 points ahead of Mark Hayman. Paul Hans with that impressive race 3 feature race got himself into 3rd place. Ben Payne with a very, very good night. Driver of the day last week, in fact, on 160 points, tied with Stefan Navalov. And this is the overall championship coming into tonight. So this is a combination of the 92s and the 2020s put together. Now there's obviously some drivers who are not doing both. There's drivers who are doing both, and those tend to be the ones that are in the top 11 seem to consist of the drivers doing both. William Foyle leading the way with Stefan Navalov in second and Jeff Purkis in third. But as we go back to thinking about ballast as well, the weight that are on these cars resemble the championship standings in this championship, the DTM 2020s, not the overall. But William Foyle, championship leader, will have the most weight for these opening races of the night and qualifying. Mark Hayman with the next level of weight, 5 kilos down, and it runs all the way down to 8th place where Ian Deeney is. And speaking of points, this is how the point system works in this championship. In the heats, you get from 40 points down. It's separated by 2 until you get to 9th place. Then it's 1 each way down until 32, because that's our maximum capacity. Then the feature race is triple points from the points you can see in the heats there. So triple the length, triple the points. Ballast there is based on where you qualify, which decides your ballast for the feature race. Ballast for this opening race and the second race is based on your championship position. So that's the housekeeping done, and we can get to the nitty gritty now. So 18 drivers in service, same as last week in actual fact, as we see a driver spin off on the back straight there. Would give you a track map, but Raceroom's not allowing it today. Yeah, just checked, it's not allowing it today, so I have to apologise for that. But we'll see if we can describe this track as best as possible. Oschersleben in East Germany. Now, it's got a bit of a reputation, and i.e. that first corner has got a bit of a reputation. It's not the one we're running today. Now, the 90-degree corner that this track is synonymous for in the first corner, we skip it. Tonight, they're going through the Motorcycle A course, which skips the first corner. So if we stay with Ian Deeney here, you'll see he's going to go off to the left here, and there's a line down the middle where that 90-degree corner goes, and it's a fairly fast braking zone going into the more than 180-degree corner that follows it. So it's a lot simpler, a bit easier to overtake, I think. But anyway, that 90-degree corner that has made Oschersleben, or is iconic in Oschersleben, or has made Oschersleben iconic, whichever way you think of it, was described by none other than BTCC legend John Cleland, remarking it as, the guy who designed this first corner should be taken into a dark room and beat about the head, which is a rather tame comment for John Cleland, but yeah, it's rather notorious, that first corner, but these drivers won't have to worry about that tonight. So we'll stay on board with Alex Foyle here. We'll go on board with him there. So into the first corner, nice cut of the curve, then into the hotel corner. Long corner that just seems to go on forever, more than 180 degrees, nearly 270 degrees, and then down the straight here, coming towards the Hazerdur. Bit of understeer there on the BMW from Alex Foyle, comes out with a bit of kick at the rear end, now heading down the straight towards the triple left-hander. First one there, second one there, start braking into the long right-hander here. I'm not actually sure what the corner's called here, but the long right-hander here, coming up to chicane, that is what it's called, and the right-hander now called McDonald's. I assume it's sponsored by McDonald's. Coming out the corner, there's not a bad lap from Alex Foyle so far. DRS open, down the Stadion Regaridng, into the Shell S's. Oh, and a bit of gravel there. Has to keep hold of the car. And that is lap abandoned for Alex Foyle. And the final two corners here. This final corner, which Alex is not going to take as he's going into the pits. The Sachsen-Anhalt curve. So quite a quick lap. 1 minute 15 is all it takes for these drivers to complete a lap round here. Very, very quick in these cars. And it was very, very popular in the early 2000s with touring cars. And of course, talking about that first corner again, there was a humongous pile up in that first corner in the World Touring Cars in 2007 or 8, I think. It might have been. There's a very, very popular YouTube video there. You have to go look it up later on, after this stream, of course. But a little bit more housekeeping before we get underway. Just to remind you of our sponsors, GP Box do provide the necessary funds that we acquire to run the server, so these guys can go racing, and not only just go racing, but these servers are top spec, which means minimal, next to no loss of connection. So a big thank you to the GP box for helping us out with that. Do check out their website. It's in the description of wherever you're watching here, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. You can find their website there for all motorsport merchandise and memorabilia. There's a lot of DTM stuff in there, in actual fact. It's worth a look. Formula 1 stuff, if that's your forte, and rally stuff as well. There's plenty of Subaru merchandise I've seen on there. So quickest in practice at the moment as we're about to go into qualifying, held by William Foyle of a 1:15. He actually did that at the dying moments. Mark Hayman, his championship rival, and in second place in the championship, second place here in practice. So the battle raging on between them two, who battled it out in the Exile DTM championship some time ago. So a pretty interesting race on the cards between them two. So the drivers get ready to progress into qualifying, which they do now. So qualifying 10 minutes. And the drivers, Will Foyle, being very eager to get on track. We'll take to the track to set some times. Oh, and a driver losing shape there in the pits there. And that might have been Andy Withers. No, it wasn't Andy Withers. Sorry, Andy. I think that was Alexander Jakobsen getting a bit loose coming out the pits there. But William Foyle, eager to get out first. Clean track ahead of him. Or clear track ahead of him, should I say. Will not need to deal with any negotiations of track position. Oh, and a bit out of shape on cold tyres is William Foyle, still trying to get hold of it. Yeah, these DTMs are very tricky to handle on cold tyres. That's something we ought to mention. So the first lap, with such tight, narrow corners, there's no room for error, so it could be a very, very strugglesome first lap for these drivers. Even the best of the best, William Foyle, the championship leader, struggling himself. But at least he's had a bit of a warning with the cold tyres in qualifying here. Just a look at Mark Hayman a bit further back, going through chicane now, and McDonald's. Mark Hayman, who won the feature race last week. Both him and Will Foyle stayed out, chose not to pit. The gamble paid off, and they both got to the end. They were almost nose to tail throughout the entire race. Not much overtaking between the two of them, but Mark Hayman, you've got to say, played his cards right. Granted a bit of a whoopsie from William Foyle, but he made it and won the race. That's all that matters. So William Foyle has started his lap. We'll do an on-board actually with Mark Hayman as he's starting a new lap now. Into the first corner, a big hit of the curb there. DRS closing as he gets into the corner. Wide, but a late exit coming out of the hotel corner there. DRS open again. Every straight possible you can open up DRS. You've got unlimited use of it, I believe, throughout the lap. Or is it 3? It's 3 uses. Do pardon me there. And a purple first sector coming through the triple now. Nice line through there, taking the curbs but not running out too wide. Nice hard right-hander. So this is going to be quite harsh on the tyres, and it's going to be very difficult to handle the rears when it does start getting cold. Around McDonald's he goes, and DRS open on this back straight here. Under the bridge, and now going into the Shell S. Purple sector again for Mark Hayman. This is a very, very good lap. Out of the Shell S he goes, into the right-hander here, now down towards the Sachsen-Anhalt curve. Taking a little bit of curb there, a little bit curb on the outside, not too much, and DRS open to finish the lap, and that is an impressive lap from Mark Hayman indeed. Puts himself pole position on a 1:16.9. Will Foyle has done about a second quicker than that in practice, but tyres are still cold for these drivers. Will Foyle must have had an invalidated lap time as he's not appeared on the board just yet. Petter Nyström coming across the line to take 10th place at the moment. Plenty of drivers warming up their tyres still. John Dowling, in fact, still in the pits. Others doing out laps Others haven't set a timer on their quick lap now. Jonas Lindberg in 9th at the moment, only just shy of 3/10 off in the first sector. Coming up to the Shell S, he comes green again, so he's up on his original. That's the tyres warming up there, and you'll creep up the order ever so slightly. At the end of this, if it hooks up well, the drivers who haven't set a lap time yet, Gabriel Lopez, Alexander Jakobsen, John Dowling, Ben Payne, William Foyle and Paul Hans. So here comes Lindberg. 2.5 off previously. Now only 7/10 off, so up to 4th place already. And Mark Hayman with more purple splits comes out of the final corner. He had to take a different line as the car peeling off there. I think it wasn't Ben Payne. I think that was Ollie Janssen. He had to move out the way of, so that might have cost him a little bit of time. A 1:16.6 though, not bad for the minute. Roll TK, who's had his home race last week in the DTM 92s at Zandvoort. I always like watching Raul TK because he's driving a car that's reminiscent of the Crest Autosport brand. Dark blue, light blue and yellow trim. He's in 11th at the moment. Ian Deeney has taken 2nd place. Just 1/10 off of Mark Hayman at the moment. Ian Deeney had drama at the end of the feature race last week. A bit of a coming together between him and Albin Kielgren, who's not racing tonight, coincidentally. But yeah, Ian Deeney spotted bother last week, but coming into this week with a fresh head, it seems. Nice 2nd place at the moment. Gabriel Lopez coming out the final corner. He too in a very Crest reminiscent livery there. Puts himself 14th at the moment. William Foyle has just finished his opening lap and straight ahead of Mark Hayman, not far off what he did in practice. 1:16.1. He's got Gabriel Lopez in front of him, and he might think he's on a fly here. No, he resets. He's deciding to go out for the final 4 minutes of qualifying. Try and do another lap, see if he can squeeze it in, is probably what he's thinking there. But in the meantime, we watch Ian Deeney, who's on a green first sector, but not so good in the 2nd sector. He might still improve his time. Have to hook up a good final sector here. That's a good line through that final corner there for Ian Deeney in the Shell Helix livery. And across the line he goes, and that didn't go much quicker, but it still cements his 3rd place for the time being. Heike Navalov, who has been brilliant this season in all categories, in 8th place at the moment, so he'll hope for better. And John Dowling has just put himself into 7th place there in the grey and black Audi there. Alex Foyle now, purple first sector, above his brother. William and Alex, I can't remember which one's the older brother. I think it's Alex. Purple 2nd sector. Into the Shell S. Goes the Shell livery. Into the final 2 corners of the track. This is one of the most important corners on the track because you've got to turn in late and get a good straight exit, but you can't turn too late because you'll end up in the gravel. Running too wide, with a lot of marbles on the outside of that corner usually, and a very bad 3rd sector in fact. Drops him back behind his brother, 2nd place though, so a Foyle lockout on the front row thus far. Ian Deeney down to 4th for the moment, but a bit of a scruffy exit of that final corner. Green split so far, but not a good sector 3. Stays in 4th for the minute. Jeff Purkis in the pits. So he will not do another lap. He seems rather happy with where he is at the moment, it seems. Hasn't got much time to go out and do another lap, though. Paul Hans, who 3rd in the championship, hasn't set a lap yet, so he hasn't got much time. He needs to hook one up fairly swiftish. He'll get to the end of this lap before 1:16 hits us, so if he doesn't invalidate a lap time, he should set a lap. Roll TK, green first split, coming around that long right-hander. There's just loads of them on this track. Now through the chicane, very tricky. You've got to aim the car perfectly through that chicane, not to hit the curbs too hard, not to get a cut track penalty. Plenty to think about on this track. And very, very quick as well. 1:16, not long at all. 1:07, so he's down on his original time. And a lot of drivers have already gone back to the pits, have decided to call it. Foyle being one of them, Alex Foyle that is. Mark Hayman will not go for another lap. Will Foyle is still on. As we mentioned earlier, he will have enough time to complete this lap, but we'll see what he can do on this one. Ollie Janssen is a driver who's still out there, but second to fifth from Foyle to Perkis have all gone into the pits, but Brits all in the top 5 at the moment, waving the flag they are. Ollie Janssen, highest of the non-British drivers. Not very good in the first split so far, but William Foyle, look at that. He doesn't need to go quicker, but he feels the need to. First split purple. He's doing it for his ego, clearly. Doesn't need to do it. He's got pole position, unless anyone else surprises us. Purple second sector as well. Putting on a show for us in qualifying. He doesn't need to, but he's going to anyway. Coming around the last few corners. Using plenty of the track. Coming up to that final braking zone, round the final corner, using all the track. DRS open. Will it be an improved lap time from William Foyle? Yes, it was. It was a 15.9, and in the nick of time, we get the standings. William Foyle takes pole position by a resounding near half a second over his brother, Alex Foyle. Mark Hayman, second in the championship, took... Oh, we've got an error with the server. Oh, not sure what's happened there. Right, we'll have to cut away for a moment to figure out what's happened there. But we'll be back very soon with round 2, the DTM 2020s. Welcome back all. We should be getting underway very soon. A little bit of a blip with the with Raceroom. there was an update earlier, so it might have been partially down to that, so we'll have to see. But we'll see if we can get going very soon. In the meantime, enjoy the cars that go around the track, doing a bit of practice while we sort out this pivoting issue at the moment. Right, apologies for the delay, folks. Issues with the server, but drivers will have to do qualifying again, unfortunately, as the feature race is so crucial on the happenings in qualifying. We have to have qualifying regardless. We can't really run without it. So the drivers have to take to the track again. Will Foyle has to do that all again. we could have done the grids manually, but if we have the same issue again at the end of qualifying, it'll probably mean we have to reconsider tonight. But we'll entertain for the next 9 minutes anyway, until things get realised. So, previous qualifying quickest was William Foyle, so he'll have to try again. Alex Foyle in second place. See if some of these guys will be relieved. They've got another chance, another crack at the whip. So that's Jakobsen there warming up his tyres. As we said earlier, it takes a long time to warm up these tyres, but William Foyle first in, first out yet again, so another onboard lap with him here. So we didn't give him the honours first time around. To the first corner he goes. Oh, very, very wide. Oh dear, very, very wide. Not a very good time to go on board with him. He'll have dirt all over his tyres and a very, very etchy back end on the car. So let's try someone else. Oh, no, no one seems to be getting the grip at the moment. Mark Hayman slipping out there. And he'll try again. Anyone else going to surprise us with a spin? Alexander Jakobsen following closely in front of him. I think that might be Jonas Lindberg. Yes, it is. And number 8, BMW getting very, very slippy in the back there. Lindberg and Jakobsen drafting each other, trying to get the best possible lap they can. Purple split for Lindberg at the moment. Jakobsen there. 28.786. A little bit quicker than Lindberg at the moment. And round the final corner goes Jonas Lindberg. Oh, and a bit of a sketchy rear end coming out the final corner from Jakobsen. Lindberg sets the first full flying complete lap. Navalov nips in front, as does Perkis. Pedersen also sets a time. John Dowling in fourth there. Paul Hans takes third for the minute. It's Navalov up top. Janssen in fifth there in the yellow and blue Audi. So 7 drivers have set a time so far. William Foyle. Now this is more of what we saw of William Foyle in the previous qualifying session. Ballistic first split there. 6/10 clear so far of Heike Navalov. Rol TK, Petter Nyström and Virginius Majalinskas. Setting times there, 7th, 8th and 10th. Ian Deeney a long way down, 7 seconds down in 11th. That would just be a warm-up lap for Ian Deeney. But it's William Foyle, sorry, watching here. 9/10 clear, and he resets back to the pits, does William Foyle. Something happened on that lap there. Alex Foyle, purple splits. This is also looking like a good lap. Not quite as good as William Foyle, especially that final corner, not very good. But by the looks of it, he'll go pole. Provisional at the moment, puts it in pole with a time that hasn't counted. Strangely enough, it came up on the screen there, but not come up on the data screen. So, have to try again. For the minute, Navalov is fastest of the rest. Mark Hayman, purple splits, not quite as big a splits as William Foyle and Alex Foyle had, but the opening lap for Mark Hayman. He'll cross the line and take provisional pole at the moment with a 16.6. Not bad from Mark Hayman. He'll know he can get more out of himself here, though, as he goes powering into the first 2 corners round the hotel corner now. And across the line will come Ian Deeney to improve from 14th up to 8th position. Plenty more in the tank for Ian Deeney as he got 4th in the previous qualifying session. Navalov will be happy with his progress so far, in 2nd so far. William Foyle will start his first resume flying pace but you'll still have fairly cold tyres, so we might see William Foyle with his best of the best lap times later on. But Heike Navaluf improving from his previous time. Oh, and he goes wide at turn 3, pushing it a little bit too hard. Alexander Jakobsen pips him to the front row. Second taken by Jakobsen at the moment, but still 4/10 off of Mark Hayman. Hayman's fairly safe at the moment, but we saw in the previous qualifying that low 16s, even 1 minute 15s are possible. This is Mark Hayman though, and he will improve his time by the looks of it. Across the line he goes. Yes, he improves his time to a 1:16.3, about 3/10 quicker. So extending his current lead at the moment is Mark Hayman. Roll TK will improve his time by the looks of it. A bit of a short shifted last corner there. Will improve his time, but doesn't improve his position. He stays 13th at the moment. Only drivers not to set a time yet is Alex Foyle, William Foyle and Gabriel Lopez. This is Alex Foyle on a clean lap at the moment. It seems William Foyle has taken second at the moment, his first flying lap, completed flying lap anyway. He'll take third. Alex Foyle will pip into second place, but there's still a long way off of Mark Hayman. With only 3 minutes to go, they'll get 2 laps in. 2 more laps to do better. Hayman's not giving up either. Hayman will go for more times, and I think he's come out for another out lap here. So he'll go for 1 flying lap after this one is complete. Petter Nyström down in 13th at the moment. Green splits at the moment, so improving from his original time. Might get up the order a little bit if he can hook up a good third sector here. Around the final corner he goes. DRS open, come down the straight, comes to the right straight away. He feels like he wants to go for another lap. That's usually what happens when you pull over to the right. He does improve positions to 11th. William Foyle, purple second sector. Not much in those splits between him and Mark Hayman at the moment. He'll come round the final corner now. He missed the apex a little bit there, I think, unless my eyes deceived me. Third at the moment is William Foyle. He'll go across the line to take pole position at the moment with a 1:16.1 for him. Where is Alex Foyle? Alex Foyle, let's find out where he is. That is Jonas Lindberg going quicker. Alex Foyle came across the line then, but he'll start a brand new lap, probably his last of the session. Mark Hayman, he's on a flyer as well, so all the top 3 will get another lap to try. Alex Foyle has already set back to the pit, so that'll be it for Alex Foyle. It will not be another front row qualifying for Alex Foyle, unfortunately for him, and a long way off his brother. William Foyle, slower in the first sector. Mark Hayman, slower in the first sector. So these drivers not going anywhere just yet with these times. Second sector, not good for Mark Hayman. It's not going to be an improvement on this lap thus far. William Foyle, not even for him either. So it might be the front row already set out in stone. John Dowling, not far off the front runners, in fact. So with that time there, a top 5 is certainly on the cards. Paul Hans takes third place from Alex Foyle as he finishes at the end there. But John Dowling comes across the line. He'll put himself into third place. Brilliant time for John Dowling as there's a crash in the background. I think that's Jakobsen in the background, but brilliant time for John Dowling to get himself into the top 3 there. And a lot of drivers reset to the pits already. Hayman, Foyle, and the other Foyle being 3 of them. Navaluf is going to try again, but will not improve his time. Stays 7th. But this will be your qualifying positions. Will Foyle takes another pole position with Mark Hayman in second. John Dowling with a brilliant final gasp lap to take third place right ahead of Paul Hans. So there are your qualifying results. Alex Foyle drops to 5th place. 6th goes to Alexander Jakobsen. 7th, Heike Navaluf. Jonas Lindberg in 8th. Ollie Jansen 9th. Jeff Perkis in 10th with Ian Deeney 11th. Petter Nyström 12th. Ben Payne in 13th, Jürgen Madsby Pedersen in 14th, Roll TK 15th, Gabriel Lopez in 16th and 17th, Rajalinskas. So there we go. we have progressed on, so that's good. That's good news. It means we will be able to go racing. Paul Hands we're going to look at here. Much better than the first qualifying session we had. You have to feel for some of these drivers, particularly Alex Foyle, who worked hard to get second place in qualifying originally, having to redo qualifying because the results don't say we had to, redo the session. Benefits drivers such as John Dowling and Paul Hands, who are on the second row of the grid, but didn't benefit the likes of Alex Foyle and Jeff Purkis. As we mentioned earlier, qualifying is such a crucial part of our races. It's required to run and required to progress from qualifying with those results in order to set the grid for race 1 and set the grid for race 3 of the night, the feature race coming up later. And of course, qualifying decides the ballast later on in the night. Mark Hayman coming up the pits. Going slow. Mighty try a practice start here. In exactly the same livery. Paul Hands there coming around the final corner. Just getting a little bit of extra lap in. And finally we'll be able to get racing underway in just a few seconds. So here we go. This is round 2 of the Crest Autosport Raceroom League's DTM 2020 edition here from Oschersleben Motorcycle A course in East Germany. My name is Alex Everett, commentator today. And welcome to the Crest Autosport channels. We're now streaming on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, so give us a follow on all 3 of them if you would be so kind. So here we go, drivers set on the grid. William Foyle is on pole position, Mark Hayman is second. Lights are red. Away we go. It's a good start for Mark Hayman in second place there as we come down towards turn 1 of lap 1. Into the first corner, William Foyle gets through into the lead first. Mark Hayman follows in second. John Dowling follows in third with Paul Hands in fourth. Big start there from William Foyle there. And they all come out of the hotel hairpin fairly safely. And a bit of a battle bit there going there between Heike Navaluf and Jonas Lindberg, and taken to the grass was Navaluf and has had to let through, I believe that's Ben Payne and Jeff Purkis, having run wide, and into the triple they go. Watching John Dowling with a good qualifying session, stays third at the moment. Around McDonald's he goes. The big battle will be between Mark Hayman and William Foyle. Both of them battled ferociously at Brands Hatch in the feature race. Paul Hands there, home territory here today. Home territory for a lot of the season, to be fair, running 4 German tracks this DTM season, rather appropriately. And coming out the final corner, William Foyle leads at the end of the first lap. Mark Hayman second, with John Dowling in third. On board with Alex Foyle. Behind, Paul Hands takes a deeper line into the first corner. Hugs the inside a lot closer than Paul Hands does. Gains up considerably through the hotel. There's a lot of gremlins going on tonight when it comes to connection. As Jakobsen, he did qualify, but a connection issue has led him to retire from this race. Maybe he'll return for the feature race, but because he'll still get his qualifying grid position for the feature race, but he'll unfortunately miss out on race 1 and 2. 16 drivers remain in this race though. So we watch Alex Foyle come through McDonald's right behind Paul Hans. The corner McDonald's, not the drive-through. DRS is open. Oh, and he squeezed it up the inside. Why Raceroom? And he gets in front of Paul Hans going into the Shell S's. Up the 4th goes Alex Foyle. Paul Hans drops to 5th, and Ben Payne in 7th place there gets a slow down penalty, and getting loose there was Jonas Lindberg, concedes 2 positions to Jeff Purkis and Ben Payne. We'll have to try again, but side by side between Jeff Purkis and Ben Payne, Ben slots back behind the green Audi of Jeff Purkis. Jeff, who has been driving so brilliantly all season long, he's been a bit unlucky in the feature race, but in the heats he's been superb. Not his best night so far for Jeff, in 6th place at the moment, but has gone from 10th to 6th so far, so one of the big movers of the grid so far. And Alex Foyle in a big hurry, and you can see he's catching up with John Dowling rather rapidly already. Within half a second of John Dowling now. Will Foyle still a second clear of Mark Hayman. There's very, very fine margins between Will Foyle and Mark Hayman, very, very identical in terms of skill. Oh, and up the inside tries Alex Foyle, but not to be. We'll try for another day, for another corner. Still right on the rear as we come round the final 2 corners of the track. He will not go for the move into the final corner. John Dowling defending a little bit there. Now coming down the back straight we go. The start finish here on board with Alex Foyle. DRS is open, but he's not gaining on John Dowling down this straight, and it's not the easiest of places to overtake. But it's all about getting a good run out of these corners. Very difficult to overtake here. It's very, very narrow. The straights are not actually that long. Mark Hayman's within a second of Will Foyle, so he's hooked up a good lap. Oh, and wide goes Alex Foyle. And we look back there, Jeff Purkis is all over the rear of Paul Hans as well. So Paul Hans, a good qualifying session, but he's struggling a little bit in the race here. He goes wide through the triple, has to tuck back in. Now round the long right-hander we go. Jeff Purkis will be looking to get past him rather quickly and back up with Alex Foyle. And that is Ben Payne in the dark blue livery behind the green car of Jeff Purkis. Ben Payne, who had a very, very good Brands Hatch meeting 2 weeks ago, finished 2nd in the sprint race, the 2nd sprint race. But this is Jeff Purkis. He's made his way past Paul Hans via DRS on the back straight, and into 5th he goes. That's from 10th to 5th he's gone so far, and this is a battle further down the field between Ian Deeney and Heike Navalov. Into the final corner they go. Ola Jansson joining them behind them in that yellow and blue livery. DRS open for Ian Deeney, very, very close. He is indeed to Navalov, but it's not the most ideal places to use DRS as an overtake. Oh, and look at this, Alex Foyle real close to John Dowling again. It'll be really close when you're battling closely anyway. On this track is so narrow, so little margin for error. Foyle taking a look to go towards the triple. Need to back off and get a good exit out of the next corner here, and then he's got to go through the chicane, presumably behind John Dowling. Hugs the inside nice and tight, nice and close to the rear of Dowling. Across the chicane we go. See how good an exit he gets. Now DRS will be open. Will he use push to pass as well? He does. He uses both, and look how much he's gaining. Will he go for a move into the Chalet? He does try it, but he's had to evade. John Dowling half shut the door, but Alex Foyle trying an ambitious move, and Jürgen Madsby Pedersen spinning just before the chicane there has to resume at the back in 16th, unfortunately for him. Foyle with a very ambitious attempt on John Dowling. Dowling shut the door, sort of saying, nope, you're not having that one. Foyle eager to get back on the podium, which he held, being that he qualified 2nd in the first qualifying session we had. But taken away from him by not having such a good second qualifying. Either that or the drives around just had a better one. And he had a good exit coming out the hairpin then, but John Dowling even better, stays ahead of him. And all this is allowing Jeff Perkis to ease up onto them with 3 minutes to go, just shy of 3 minutes to go in this session. Into the chicane again. Go on board with Foyle again. Mark Hayman has dropped off a little bit from William Foyle at the front, 1.6 between them now. Foyle is not able to go for a move here like he tried to last time. Looking back a bit, Paul Hans behind Jeff Perkis still, in front of Ben Payne still. But Paul Hans coming into tonight, third in the championship. He'll still be happy with 6th place, I think. Further back, a bit of a battle between Ian Deeney and his teammate Hakeem Avalov in front, and his other teammate behind him, Ollie Janssen, all part of the Gavra Racing team. Looking out 8th, 9th and 10th. But the battle for the reverse grid, well, there's no battle for the reverse grid. Jonas Lindberg holds it at the moment, being 8th, and I think Jonas might sort of say, yep, I'll just sit here and get a nice, easy pole position for race 2. Ben Payne right in front of him, who, as it stands, will take the 2nd row. And we look at Alex Foyle coming around the final corner, not final corner, the long right-hander into the chicane, very close to John Dowling. Could this be the closest he's been? John Dowling's having a better exit out of McDonald's there than Alex Foyle, but Foyle opening up DRS and push to pass. And he does get alongside, and it's a terrible understeer into the gravel he goes, and Foyle will have to resume back behind, and now defending from Jeff Perkis. So a very ambitious move, too late on the brakes, and just went straight on. And loses shape coming out of the final corner there. This allows Jeff Perkis to get alongside. Jeff gets in front, and he'll be able to take the position. And look who else is coming involved here. Paul Hans, and Paul Hans will get in front of Alex Foyle. A bad half a lap here for Alex Foyle, but Paul Hans goes wide, and that allows Alex Foyle back up the inside. Hands, very loose, having ridden the curb there. Foyle had the easier line, being on the track. Taking the curves in these cars is very, very, very dangerous indeed. Paul Hans goes wide, and that allows Ben Payne to utilise that. But he's not able to get it in front. It's a very tricky corner to overtake on his triple. We see it in touring cars, but in DTM it's not as not as popular. We go to the front as William Foyle is going to wrap up another win in DTM 2020 here. He won the opening race of the season. He probably should have won the feature race, but he'll be the first to take 2nd win of the year in this category. So he comes around the final corner now. William Foyle will take the win in race 1 here of the night, ahead of Mark Hayman, 2nd in the championship, 2nd in the race. John Dowling qualified 3rd and stays 3rd. Had to work hard for it, but he gets it. Jeff Perkis with a big rise from 10th up to 4th in that race. Alex Foyle will take 5th place. A bit of an up and down race for him. Paul Hans started 4th, drops to 6th, but a good battling from him. Ben Payne takes 7th place, and reverse grid honours will go to Jonas Lindberg, finishing 8th. We'll get him on pole position for race 2 tonight. Ian Deeney took 9th place with Heike Navalov in 10th. Raceroom is so good at race ends. Ollie Janssen in 11th. Roll TK took 12th place. Penny Strom 13th. Gabriel Lopez took 14th. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen with the spin just before the chicane recovered to 15th. And Virginius Majalinskas rounds up in 16th. But your race winner was William Foyle. I have no idea what Raceroom is doing here with the automated driving at the end of a race. Very soon the results will progress on to end the race. So the next race, Just flash up the itinerary for you now. The next race is another 10-minute sprint race. Granted, a little later than we wanted due to the issues we had server side earlier for qualifying. The 10-minute sprint race will follow immediately after this race is rounded up. Jonas Lindberg will qualify in pole position for that. Second will go to Ben Payne. Paul Hans will qualify. Will start on third. Fourth will go to Alex Foyle. Fifth will start Jeff Perkis. Sixth will be where John Dowling sits. Mark Hayman and William Foyle, seventh and eighth. So there we go, there are your results, classified results of race 1. We'll get them back up for you very shortly so we can run back through them. So, William Foyle took honours in race 1 there, with Mark Hayman taking second, John Dowling in third, Paul Hans in fourth, Alex Foyle in fifth. Sixth went to Alexander Jakobsen. Seventh and eighth will start on the front row of race 2. Goes to Heike Navaluf and Jonas Lindberg. So race 2 coming up very, very shortly. We have had someone drop off the server, unfortunately. There's a lot of bugs going on. I think it was Virginius who's actually dropped off. So it's not been a good night. A lot of gremlins as a result of Raceroom update, unfortunately. It's just these things that can happen in sim racing, unfortunately. But the show goes on into race 2. So a little bit of housekeeping just before we get underway with race 2. This is the season we got laid out. We're in round 4, which is the second middle top row for DTM 2020. Last week we were at Zandvoort, this week we're in Oschersleben. Next week we'll be back over to the 92s at Zolder in Belgium. Then in 2 weeks' time we'll be round 3 here in the 2020s at Raceroom. We'll have a week break after Raceroom and we'll come back. Swapping rounds, we'll be starting with the 2020s at Salzburgring. Norrisring will follow. Hockenheim will follow in the 2020s and back to the 92s for the Autodrom Most. And then both Nürburgring variations will be the finales for each of them. Nürburgring GP being the finale for the 2020s and the Nordschleife for the 1992s. So we are about to get underway. Jonas Lindberg will start on pole position. Or Ian Deeney will. Okay, yep, Ian Deeney's on pole position with Lindberg in second. Lights are red, and away we go. Ian Deeney gets away. Ben Payne has had a good start there from third place. Down to turn one we go. Deeney defends from Lindberg. Ben Payne gets himself into second place. Great start from him, and wide goes Lindberg. Slips it sideways, doesn't quite spin, and there's a spin at the background as well. I think that was Gabriel Lopez. Yes, it was. Back at the front, Ian Deeney getting away rather quickly from Ben Payne. But he leads coming out of the first couple of corners. Alex Foyle already up to third place. Mark Hayman already up to fourth place. John Dowling up 1 place. And William Foyle's also up 2 places. Navalov and Lindberg have slipped back. Lindberg, who started second, has switched back to 8th place. Paul Hans giving him a little bit of a nudge up the rear. But Paul Hans has dropped all the way to 9th so far. Bad start for him. Now Alex Foyle up to 3rd place from starting 5th. Ben Payne last week in race 2 finished 2nd with Alex Foyle winning it. We might see similar here tonight, who knows. They're both in a very good position so far, but there's time to go in this race. Just shy of 9 minutes as we end lap 1. Ian Deeney leads. Alex Foyle takes to the outside of Ben Payne, coming towards turn 1. He probably has the better line if he can stay alongside. Coming into Hotel we come now. Alex Foyle stays alongside. Both give each other room. Ben Payne not giving up, but Foyle is able to get out of the corner. They're still side by side. Ben Payne still has the inside now for the next corner. Foyle breaks later, but Payne has the inside. Stays in front of him. Foyle on the outside. Who's going to get away first? Foyle will, as he'll have the better line going into the triple and take 2nd place. A good battle between them two, side by side, for 2 corners on such a narrow and difficult track. Now Ben Payne is defending from Mark Hayman and William Foyle, as Ian Deeney is just breaking away. The 2 Shell Helix liveries there. The front one is Deeney, the second one is Alex Foyle. So we now switch to William Foyle right behind his championship rival Mark Hayman. Not much difference between the points and all these drivers. And Mark Hayman runs wide. Coming out of the Shell S there and concedes position to William Foyle. Is now under pressure from Heike Navalov. Navalov tries the inside and they stay side by side coming around the corner. Down this back straight, Hayman opens DRS straight away. Hayman is nipped in front and probably will stay in front as they break into the first corner. Through they go and across nips Navalov and in front of Hayman, who has Dowling behind him now. Navalov up 1 place. Hayman has fallen 2 places. Now Foyle in 2nd place. Winner of race 2 last week, as we mentioned. Ben Payne is out of trouble so far with shaking off Mark Hayman, but he's got William Foyle to worry about further back. This is back on board with Mark Hayman right behind Navalov. He'll want to get back up to the front runners. The front runners being Payne and Foyle. Oh, and a big run. A much better run coming out that corner than Navalov, but too early, too soon. Not able to overtake going into the chicane. Not an overtaking opportunity unless you're extremely lucky. Down the back straight we go. A bit of a battle going on between Dowling and Paul Hans, no, sorry, Jonas Lindberg does get in front, but a very scruffy exit from that corner. Dowling will be able to nip back in front. Hans alongside Lindberg, not much room given by Lindberg, but stays in front of Hans nonetheless. Still in 8th place is Lindberg. He finished, I think he finished 8th in race 1. It seemed to be a bit of a confusion with the race results in the starting grid. Clarify it later. But on the inside, Paul Hans, big late break going into turn 1. Great move on the inside of Jonas Lindberg, and a bit of argy-bargy going around the hotel, but Hans is in front and soundly in front for the minute from Jonas Lindberg. Going wide at the back there was Raul TK. Now there's no reverse grid to worry about in this race. The grids for race 3 are based on qualifying that we saw about 20 minutes ago. Alex Foyle getting closer to Ian Deaney. He's hooked up a good few laps here, has Alex Foyle, and has caught up with the leader. They are not teammates, although they're in the same livery, not teammates. So there will be no no such orders or anything like that. Every man for himself in this championship. Into the final corner. Foyle will try and take a late line, try and get a good run out of the corner. Runs a little bit wide. I don't think he touched much of the gravel. He did actually, dropping back a little bit from Deaney, and Ben Payne is not letting them get away so easily. He's got Foyle, the other Foyle, to worry about behind him. Foyle, who won race 1 as his championship rival. Whoa, a big late break from Ben Payne. It actually put off William Foyle, and a spin from Ben Payne. Gas down too early, I presume. Oh no, and he's just rejoined the track right in front of Navalov, and Navalov spins in front of traffic. Oh, and more. Oh no. And big drama there. Ben Payne spun and trying to get away so eagerly has cost other drivers their race as well. Navalov has dropped to 10th place. I think Janssen lost out as a result as well. Ben Payne resumes in 8th. But you've got to say it was a bit of an unsafe rejoin from him. And now he's trying to get away eagerly. But Alex Foyle, we have to switch, has got in front of Ian Deaney rather swiftly. Coming out of McDonald's there, he just blistered past Ian Deaney. Jonas Lindberg now battling with John Dowling. He'll try for the inside. Late break. He's not able to get up the inside. John Dowling holds off in the Shell S in front of Lindberg. Paul Hans right behind them as well. Been a little bit of a up and down race for some drivers. Yeah, just to clarify, there was 16 drivers earlier in race 1. Jeff Perkins has disconnected as something happened in between the two races. Hopefully he'll be back for the feature race though, coming up in about 10 minutes time. Looking at Paul Hans. Dropped off a little bit from Lindberg. Lindberg battling with John Dowling. Dowling hasn't let many people past him tonight. He's been very difficult to overtake indeed. Lindberg being the latest of them. Alex Foyle tried in race 1 but couldn't quite get it. A late exit from John Dowling. Getting good acceleration off the corner. Through the chicane we go. Lindberg gaining considerably through the chicane there, taking a bit of a straighter line. Will he have a good run coming out of the chicane? It looks like he might have. He gets alongside, tries the outside going into the Shell. This is something we haven't seen tonight, but he's not able to get it alongside him past. Slots back behind John Dowling. John Dowling runs wide onto the gravel there. Oh, Lindberg looked to try and get up the inside. Not the easiest corner to overtake there, and he's also got Paul Hans to worry about behind him. Slow down penalty for Ben Payne. His race goes from bad to worse. Back there in 8th. But back at the front. Oh, and look at that. Paul Hans outside again. Did the same to someone earlier and gets in front of Jonas Lindberg on the main straight there. Around the outside and past at turn 1. Back at the front. Alex Foyle leading the way, getting away from Ian Deaney in second there. William Foyle catching up with Ian Deaney, but he's got Mark Hayman, who's had a tremendous comeback, you have got to say. Dramas earlier on in the race, dropped down to as low as 7th, I think it was. And he's back up to 4th, and he's not far away from 1st at all. 1st is in sight. Through the S he goes. And looking back at Jonas Lindberg, still battling with Hans. Hans has got Dowling in front of him. Dowling, as we said, has not let past many drivers tonight. To the final corner. And now starting the final lap goes Alex Foyle. He can't rest off just yet. He's dropped a little bit of time from Ian Deeney. Ian Deeney realising Will Foyle is right behind him, catching him up. He's got to put the pedal to the metal. And in doing so, helping him against Alex Foyle in front. William Foyle behind him there in the black Remus Audi livery. Went a bit wide coming out of turn 3 there. William Foyle will be eager for 2nd place, but we'll be pleased with the fact that you might get 2 podiums here. DRS open for Paul Hans as he tries his hands at John Dowling. No pun intended there. Just slipped out of my mouth. Down the back straight. Foyle leads in the way. He's not got Deeney to worry about. All he has to do is just hook up these corners, get it to the line now. Time's expired, so the checkered flag will wave at the end of this lap. Top 4 within 2 seconds here, but Alex Foyle comes around the final corner nice and clean. Takes it a bit slower than he needs to, but that's all he needed. He wins race 2 yet again. Won race 2 weeks ago, and he wins it again today. Ian Deeney will take 2nd place. William Foyle in 3rd place, coming up there from 8th. And Mark Hayman, a bit of a topsy-turvy race, but a good comeback to 4th. John Dowling rounds off in 5th. Paul Hans in 6th with a good battle against Jonas Lindberg. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, I think that might be his best result of the season, finishing 8th. Number 8 on his car, number 8 in the race. Heike Navalov, who got caught up by Ben Payne's rejoin. The pain for him is he finishes 9th here. Petter Nystrom in 10th there, right in front of the aforementioned Ben Payne. Roll TK comes through in 12th. Virginius, I did say he disconnected earlier, but he hadn't. Well, although it looks very difficult to imagine there. 13th for Virginius. Ollie Janssen, not such a good race for him, finishes 14th with Gabriel Lopez sinking into the abyss in 15th. Race room. I'm glad to see you didn't update this. But we will be going for a break now as the feature race is coming up. I know it says 9:40 there, but we did have a few difficulties earlier. We'll be back on in approximately 5 minutes, ready to give you the 30-minute feature race. Where the grids are based on qualifying, the ballast is also based on qualifying. We'll see you very shortly. Welcome back to Oschersleben. Feature race coming up very, very shortly. Yes, so welcome back to the feature race coming up very soon for the Crest Autosport Raceroom League's DTM 2020 Championship Round 2 here at Oschersleben. Tonight's races and the championship sponsored by the GP Box for motorsport merchandise and memorabilia. The prizes for this championship are also provided by Lovely Stickers and 3M UK. Tonight's track, Oschersleben in East Germany. Not one popular with Formula 1 crowd, but very popular with the DTM and touring car crowd, as it's hosted 6 World Touring Car events, 3 European Touring Car events, and many, many DTM rounds to the present. Granted, COVID has had a bit of an impact on hosting at Oschersleben, but it's still one considered for DTM. Tonight's itinerary. This is the feature race coming up now, 30 minutes. Where the grid is based on what happened in qualifying. So pole position in qualifying will get you pole position on the grid for the feature race here. The qualifying results also decide your ballast in this race. So William Foyle, who qualified on pole position, ends up with the most ballast. This is the season, how it looks throughout the calendar. We started off weeks ago in Brands Hatch back-to-back. Then over to Zandvoort for the second round and the third round overall of the 92 DTMs. Oschersleben today. Next week we'll be off for the 92s to Zolder. Then round 6, back with the DTM 2020s in 2 weeks' time from today at Regaridng. We'll have a week break and then we'll be back starting straight off with the 2020s reverse order. Salzburg Ring, the first destination for the second half of the season. Then we're over to the street circuit of Norrisring for the 92s. The Formula 1 famous Hockenheim Ring for round 5 of the DTM 2020s. The 92s will take place at the popular for motorcycles, but not popular for touring cars, but we use it anyway, Autodrom Moss circuit in Czechia. The finals both at the Nürburgring facility. The Nürburgring GP will be the finale round for the 2020s. Nordschleife will be the finale for the 92s. So let's get back into practice session here where drivers are joining the server and we'll be getting ready for the feature race. So these were the qualifying results and therefore this will be the starting order for this race. William Foyle, who will have 40 kilos of ballast still on board his car, in the pole position, starting first in this qualifying session, in this feature race. Mark Hayman will start second on 35 kilos. John Dalling will start third on 30 kilos. Paul Hans will start fourth on 25 kilos. 20 kilos in fifth place for Alex Foyle. 15 kilos for Alexander Jakobsen in sixth place. Seventh place and 10 kilos for Heike Navalov. 8th for Jonas Lindberg, who will have 5 kilos on board, and the other drivers 0 kilograms on board their car. But we'll start from 9th downward. Jeff Perkis, I don't think will be Jeff Perkis is rejoining us. Welcome back to him. Glad he's come back to give it another go. As has someone else come back? No, I don't think so actually. Alexander Jakobsen, I don't think has rejoined us, having disconnected earlier on in the night. So they'll all move up, and Heike Navalov will start 6th. Jonas Lindberg in 7th, and Ollie Jansen in 8th. So not long Excuse me. Not long to go until the feature race is underway. It's a half-an-hour race. Rumour has it that they might be changing the length of this feature race later on in the season to accommodate pit stops a little bit more. But we'll find out about that when the admins report it. 16 drivers in the server will be moving on to the feature race very soon. Drivers on the back straight there practicing their starts, it seems. I think that was the green car of Jeff Perkis. We were looking there. Ben Payne, who was doing so well in race 2, he was in 3rd place when a mistake in the hotel hairpin cost him such a good potential position in race 2. But yeah, just looking at the comments on Facebook, yeah, give us a prediction, everyone, of who you think's going to win this feature race. William Foyle starting on pole position. Big candidate, as Jakobsen provides some entertainment on that back straight for us there. Jakobsen back in the server. Good for him. Good, good, good. And we are missing someone from the server. I can't quite figure out who it is. But nay mind. The show still goes on. We'd also like you guys, as the feature race goes on, to give us a Driver of the Day nomination. As I always struggle to pick a Driver of the Day, because I never want to pick the same driver week in, week out. Last week's Driver of the Day was Ben Payne, putting in such a good performance in the second race and performed really well in the feature race. So who will be our Driver of the Day tonight? Who will be our race winner? Here we go, we're going to get underway very, very shortly for the Crest Autosport Raceroom League's DTM 2020 Round 2 here at Oschersleben, using the motorcycle A course, so it misses the horrible 90-degree corner that John Cleland hates so famously. But these drivers, particularly Paul Hands, who overtook 2 people on the outside going into turn 1 today, so he particularly likes that corner. Here we go. We're looking at Mark Hayman there. Second on the grid. William Foyle first. Someone hasn't gridded up back there, but they have now, and we're about to get underway for the feature race here at Oschersleben. Oh, and a jump start for someone. Or was it a jump start there? I don't think it was. A blistering start from Alex Foyle on the outside there. But William Foyle will come down towards turn 1 in the lead. 3 wide potential going into turn 1 here. Alex Foyle, we're watching there alongside Navalov, who went sideways there coming around Hotel. But that's Mark Hayman on the inside now of William Foyle, and will nip into the lead going into turn 3. Brilliant start from Mark Hayman, taking the lead early on here at Oschersleben. John Dowling stays in 3rd with Alex Foyle side by side, not side by side anymore with Heike Navalov, who's in 5th now. Jeff Perkis back there alongside Ian Deeney, slots into 8th place. The comeback begins for Jeff Perkis, who missed out on race 2. Following Alex Foyle here, he'll want to get behind his brother rather sharpish and just follow him. But these drivers, now the dilemma starts. They probably have already figured out their strategies, but do these drivers go into the pits for tyres? Do these drivers stay out and try and risk on all dead rubber? We have seen that the benefit has been towards not pitting, so we might see a lot of drivers try that this week. But of course, oh, and someone's peeled off. As Alex Foyle, he did in fact have a jump start, and he'll have to come through the pits to serve that. He's coming into the pits rather sharpish, you've got to say, and that'll lose him a lot of ground. Now looking at Navalov in front, this is Paul Hands. Oh, and a bit wonky donkey going through the hotel hairpin there. Might have had a nudge from Lindbergh, I'm not entirely sure. But at the end of lap 1, Mark Hayman leads the way ahead of William Foyle. This is a turnout different from what was at Brands Hatch. It was pretty much Mark Hayman following William Foyle all the way around until the final lap, where he utilised William Foyle thinking it was the end of the race and got past him going into Paddock Hill Bend. The tables have turned here. Hayman's the one in front, but for how long? We'll see. Dowling not far from William Foyle. A bit of a misshift there coming out of long right-hander. When there is no corner name, I call it the long left-hander or the long right-hander. That's just how it works. Oh, and William Foyle trying for Mark Hayman there. Not quite going to happen just yet, and a big battle going on between them. Lindbergh and Hans. Hans has to drop back behind Perkis, now trying his hands at Hans. I've said it again. No pun intended. And Jeff Perkis, the comeback starts. He got himself from 10th to 4th in race 1 and disconnected for race 2. Jeff has not had much luck this season, but he's had a lot of serious pace as he breezes past Paul Hans going into turn 1 here. Into the hotel he goes, now in 6th place. And it's still real close between all these drivers. Now, a lot of them will be driving slower than they would in qualifying and the sprint races, because they've got to conserve their tyres for the 30-minute race if they decide to go to the end. John Dowling has put on a good performance tonight. Didn't have such a good round at Brands Hatch 2 weeks ago, but 3rd place in race 1. A top 5, I think, in race 2, if my memory serves me right, and 3rd at the moment here in 3rd race. Coming into the Shell S we go now. John Dowling's not letting William Foyle get away, so sharpish. William Foyle can't get away, to be fair. He's got Mark Hayman stuck in front of him, but John Dowling, no slouch here. He's not dropping off from Will Foyle and Mark Hayman, who are the notorious quick ones out of these two. But look how close William Foyle is now to Mark Hayman. Will go to the inside. Hayman hangs on to the inside. Coming around the hotel, he'll still hold the inside, but William Foyle, if he can stay on the outside, he'll have the inside for the next corner. Coming up here, they approach the Hasserode, I don't know. And he gets in front. William Foyle gets in front of Mark Hayman again here. Good battle between these two. A lot more overtaking than there was at Brands Hatch. Let's see if any of them will play the next move. John Dowling's so close to Mark Hayman as well. It's a 3-way battle for the lead. If Navaluf can catch up there in 4th place, it'll grow to more than 3 cars, which is what we want to see, especially in DTM. And the top 11 are only separated by 4.5 seconds, so not much at all. The top 10, less than 4 seconds between them. On board now with Jonas Lindbergh. The leaders in sight right behind that big 3 right in front of us. And the back straight we go. Navaluf can't quite get a good run out that final corner. Not as good as Dowling anyway. Dowling is real close to Hayman, but Lindbergh's close also to Lindbergh. Lindbergh's close to Navaluf. Coming around the hotel they go. Jeff Perkis ducking and diving about with these guys down that back straight there. Look out for that green Audi. It might be coming up a few more positions as the race goes by. But this top 10 consisting of Foyle, Hayman, Dowling, Navaluf, Lindbergh, Perkis, Paul Hans, Ian Deeney, Jürgen Masby Pedersen and Ben Payne in 10th. Navaluf caught up to the rear of John Dowling here. William Foyle's hooked up a good lap. He is pulling away slightly from Mark Hayman. Dowling, not such a good chicane there. He's got Navaluf right behind him, and look at Jonas Lindbergh. He'll go for the inside of Heike and Navaluf going into the Shell S, and Navaluf shuts the door on Lindbergh. Side by side, bit of contact, and they're still side by side. Coming into the final 2 corners of the track. Lindbergh's on the inside, and the better line for these 2 corners, you've got to say. He'll take 4th place from Navaluf, unless Navaluf can get the undercut. Not yet, no he can't. But that allowed Dowling and Hayman to get away a little bit from these drivers. We saw Ben Payne lose a little bit of shape back there, but he's still on the back of this pack. Jeff Perkis now joining the party, trying to get past Navaluf. But Lindbergh gets himself into 4th place. A good battling between him and Navaluf. Not the cleanest, but a good battle nonetheless.
Oh, and look at that. Jeff Perkins trying the undercut now on Heike Navaluf. And it slots back behind. It wasn't to be. And John Dowling still not far away from Hayman at all. Now, will Hayman think that William Foyle getting away from him will use up Will Foyle's tyres a bit more? Oh, and a big swap of the rear end from Jonas Lindberg, and what was looking like such a good race so far has gone. It's hitting the outside curb too much, and it's swapped him round. Almost uncontrollable, I think. Drops down to 11th at the moment, but that battle that he looked so potent for in the top 4 has gone away, sadly for him. But meanwhile, back at the front, Navaluf inherits 4th place. Perkis is up to 5th. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, what a drive he's having. 7th place at the moment. He's got ahead of Paul Hans at some point on the last lap, and he's not far away from the pack in front of him. He's had some new equipment come in, has Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, so it's paying off at the moment in this race. Did very well in race 2 as well. I think he finished 8th. Jeff Perkis started 10th, got up to 4th in race 1 from 10th, and he's looking to do similar here, and he's still got the leaders in sight. William Foyle has dropped off a little bit and Hayman's caught him up. Hayman with a good lap has stretched away a little bit from John Dowling, but not such a good lap from William Foyle. Jeff Perkins looking at the inside of Navaluf, just warning him he's there. Through the shell as we go. Foyle taking all the road and more. And the top 3 are fairly close yet again. Half a second between them. Coming around the final corner we go to start lap 8. We're nearly a third of the way through the race, and look how close it is between everyone, including this battle for 4th place. Jeff Perkis alongside Navaluf. This could be a 3 wide, not quite. Navaluf nips in front of Deeney. Perkis now on the inside of Deeney, outside of Deeney now, going into the hotel, and Deeney gets in front. Oh, and Perkis tries to shut off Pedersen, who sneaks in front into 6th place. What a race Jürgen Madsby Pedersen is having. This is the best I've ever seen him race. This is phenomenal from the Danish driver. And wide there goes Paul Hans. But Jeff Perkis, he was looking for a move into 4th place and he's dropped to 7th. All in a matter of a few corners. What a race we're having here. Back at the front, Hayman dropped off a little bit from William Foyle. Has split up a little bit between them 3. Deeney is up to 5th place. He's come out of nowhere. He has. Just got to remind myself of where Deeney started. Yeah, all the way down in 11th is where Deeney started. He's up to 5th. Oh, and he's going to try the inside of Heike Navaluf. He's got up the inside of his teammate of Gavra Racing. But Navaluf is able to get the better line and slows down a little bit, hitting the gravel. Does Deeney? Jürgen Madsby Pedersen gets past. Pedersen's up to 5th place. What a race he's having. DRS open, he's going for it. Navaluf in front of him now. Deeney drops to 6th place. He's got Perkis to worry about again. Perkis up the inside with DRS open and push to pass, I'm presuming. Gets in front, is not able to close the door. Deeney does try and slip it back up the inside. Contact between them, but they're still side by side and on the track coming around the hotel. Still both side by side coming up to turn 3. Perkis still up the inside. Got to say, Deeney has the better line, but he's now gone wide, actually, so that will put Perkis back in front. Back in front, yes, goes Perkis. So Deeney, similar to what we were saying about Perkis on the previous lap, Deeney was going for 4th place and ended up dropping now to 7th place. What's going to happen next? Pedersen's going to drop down there. No offence to any driver, but I hope not. Pedersen's having a good race here, and I haven't seen it from Pedersen for a very long time, so want to see him do well. But he's dropped off a little bit from Navaluf, and he's got Perkis and Deeney to worry about now. Let's see if Pedersen can hold his own, and we see a slow running Jakobsen there. Not a good race for him, as it seems. Dropped down to 16th place. Navaluf has caught up the back of this top 3 here. Now Navaluf has no one to worry about behind. He can look forwards and on to the top 3. John Dowling being the first of them. Oh, a bit too early on the power there, had to ease off. Uses DRS even on one of the smallest straights on the track. You get 3 of them on the lap, so you may as well use it. He's already used push to pass on this lap. Hayman stretching away from Dowling, getting nearer and nearer to William Foyle. It's all starting to split up a little bit, these battles. The top 4 is fairly content now. The battle for 5th rages on, and Deeney goes very wide there, and that'll allow Paul Hans to get through alongside maybe. He is alongside going into the Shell S, and he'll take the position from Deeney. Into 7th goes Hans. Pedersen hangs on to 5th place. Will he be able to catch up with Heike and Navalov? Or Jeff Perkins with a good run coming out of the final corner there. Gets alongside and probably in front of Pedersen. He'll take back 5th place. And Pedersen messed up a little bit there going into the 90, which is not a 90. But down to 6th place he goes. And I think that might have been Ben Payne leaving the pits just then. We saw that, or Gabriel Lopez. One of them, they're both in the same livery, so it's hard to tell. And look how close this top 4 is yet again. Less than a second between them. Foyle can't break away from Hayman. Near the halfway point of the race. Foyle taking a lot more of the track and probably more speed through the corner. Hayman broken away from Dowling there. And look who's caught up already to 4th place. It is Jeff Perkis. Not messing around. Back up to the battle with the front runners. Oh, and wide went Hans just behind Pedersen there, and got to slow down as a result. You have to serve that and let by Ian Deeney. DRS over despite having to serve a slowdown. I don't think that's going to slow you down. Now, Mark Hayman. Where has Will Foyle gone? Oh, Foyle has lost position to Mark Hayman, and DRS has got him past. And back into 2nd place goes William Foyle, and look at Jeff Perkis there battling with Navalov. Navalov's got the inside. You have to say he'll get this here unless he runs wide. Jeff Perkis also runs wide. The tyres will start to degrade massively now, or be degraded massively now. And yeah, Jeff Perkins backing off a lot through the triple there. Track getting a bit cold, I think, as well, being sunset now. So the battle for the top spot rages on. Neither of them running away with it. And look at that, it's very rare in these sort of races you can see the top 8 battling out, as we saw Paul Hans go wide again there. Paul Hans goes wide and he's struggling a bit, I think, with the tyres decomposing. DRS open for John Dowling. Will he try for Mark Hayman going into turn 1? Not quite. Jeff Perkis not looking at Navalov just yet. Play your cards right, people. Oh, Navalov, a big shove at the rear of John Dowling. Dowling's able to keep hold of it. Keep it careful, people. Oh, and Jeff Perkis trying the inside of Navalov there. Will maintain the inside, but will slip it sideways. He was on the grass. That was never going to work, Jeff. Rear wheel drive. 570 brake horsepower with a wheel on the grass. Not going to work, I'm afraid. Oh, and there's drivers in the pits. Pedersen's one of them. Lindbergh's another, and TK's another. So at the halfway point of the race, these guys have decided they're going into the pits to take on tyres. Now, Pedersen, who was... Oh, and disqualified for speed in the pit lane, Jonas Lindbergh. Oh, my word, I didn't know he had one to start with. Very harsh penalty indeed, you've got to say. Lindbergh out of the race, really unfortunate for him. Oh, and look at that at the front. a mistake from Hayman, and he drops to third behind Dowling. He hit the gravel, and Navalov is going to try up the inside, shoves it up there rather forcibly, gets into third place. Hayman is dropping down now, losing out to Deeney as well. And a bad corner there for Hayman has lost him for 4 places. William Foyle back in the lead for the 3rd time in this race, but he's got John Dowling to worry about now. Dowling, the best opportunity he's had in the season to take a win. Now, Foyle might seize the opportunity now to use his tyres and get a bit further up, and he broke a lot later than Dowling did, but Dowling, taking the corner at a more consistent speed, it seems, was able to catch back up as the triple corner ended. That top 5 real close together. It's still yet. Hayman on the back of them will be eager to get back up towards Dowling and Foyle. Got to count 6th place Paul Hans back there as well. Jeff Perkins trying to catch up in the background in that green Audi. Dowling in the 53 car, Foyle in the 62 car. Have a look there in 27, 31 for Deeney. And look how close this top 5 are. It's excellent to watch. Up the inside, Mark Hayman alongside Ian Deeney, and Deeney will concede the position to Mark Hayman. Will try back up the inside, a little bit of contact, but is still following him round the hotel corner. Hayman will have the inside for the next corner, opens DRS to just ensure he gets in front of Deeney. Deeney slots back behind. That's 1 place back for Mark Hayman. Will Foyle, you've got to say, has put the power down now, breaking away a little bit from Dowling. 8/10 clear. Jeff Perkins on the back of Hans, I saw back there. Oh, Navalov. Oh, Navalov had to brake a lot there. Dowling struggling through the chicane there. And Constantine is up a little bit. Flash of the lights of Heike Navalov to say, hurry up Dowling, we're losing Foyle up front. This will be exactly what Foyle wants. The master of the endurance racing is William Foyle. Granted, it's only a 30-minute race. Oh dear, and a big turn across from Navalov on Mark Hayman. And a mistake from Dowling, and a mistake from Navalov gets Deeney alongside. He kind of shuts the door on Deeney. Look at all this bunch up coming into the first corner. Contact from someone and it glitched about. 3 wide going into the first corner. Second corner now. Jeff Perkins on the outside of Paul Hans, but is not able to get past Deeney. Gets away. Very lucky there, having been in the middle and just broke later to get through. But Hayman is back up to 2nd place with all that going on. Oh, and a spin for Nike again, Navalov. Reversing it as quickly as he can. The pressure's cracked and he's dropped to 7th and out of this battle for the top spot. Oh, and there's a spin for Virginius, not in the most optimal of places, reversing onto the track. He ought to hope that no one drives into him. I don't think anyone has. But Will Foyle, watching all that take place behind him, be pleased to see that. Increases his lead to nearly 3 seconds from Mark Hayman. Hayman back in 2nd, but will want to catch up with William Foyle again. Hayman has finished behind Foyle in all 3 races, so it's not helping his championship today being behind him in all 3. The final third of the race. Jeff Perkins looked to the inside of Deeney, but backs out of it. Now this battle here, not any longer for 1st place, but this front of the pack battle has always consisted of about 4 or 5 drivers, sometimes more, and it's been very, very exciting to watch. Hopefully it continues. Wide in the background there went Paul Hans. 4-way battle at the moment for 2nd place. 4 Brits going at it. Oh, and Jeff Perkins not the place to try and overtake. backs out of it, and he'll try and get a late acceleration and gain on Deeney coming down this back straight. He did have a good run coming out of McDonald's there. He'll try for the outside, but it's not going to work there. Deeney defending the inside now for the Shallows, and look at how much Perkis is fighting that wheel. He's struggling to keep hold of it. He nearly had a good run on Deeney coming out the corner there, but wasn't able to keep hold of the car. As Deeney evades into the pits, he's decided enough is enough. I want new tyres now. Now that might not be a gamble that pays off for Deeney, because I can assure you that William, Foyle, Hayman, Dowling and Perkis are going to stay out. Foyle, who's still not quite over 3 seconds ahead. Hayman actually putting in quicker lap times than William Foyle. In fact, the last time was actually fairly identical between the two, so not much to separate them at the moment. A 1:17.7 on the last lap for Jeff Perkis, so a big lap from him. So Ian Deeney went into the pits. He's now leaving. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen will find his way past, as will Ben Payne. So, you have to say, if William Foyle, Mark Hayman and John Dowling came in the pits, let's just say they do, Ben Payne might be able to get past on the undercut, as might Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. That's a gamble from them two going in the pits, but it might pay off if Hayman, Foyle and Dowling and Perkis decide to come in the pits, which they might not with 6 minutes to go. But look how much Jeff Perkis in the green Audi shaking the car coming out of the final corner. It's real difficult for these guys to handle these cars at this point in the race. But it's all about composure. William Foyle breaking past the 3-second gap ahead of Mark Hayman. Just has to hook up each corner and not make any mistake now. Jeff Perkis, who had a lot more cars to battle with in this race, might have scrubbed his tyres a little more than he wanted as a result, but still not giving up on trying to take third place from John Dowling. Paul Hans catching back up with this three-way battle here. Alex Foyle, who had a penalty earlier on in the race, a drive-through penalty, is up to 7th place. Hasn't pitted, but serving the drive-through has got him in front of the drivers who have pitted in Ben Payne and Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. Back at the battle for second place. Jeff Perkis eases the power down. Not able to get the upper hand on Dowling in front of him. Doesn't use push to pass. I wonder if he's saving it for the back straight. Only 4.5 minutes to go. We got about 3 or 4 laps left in this race. The only retirement from this race is Jonas Lindberg, sadly. A penalty for speeding in the pit lane for him, which is an odd one to say the least. We'll have to look into that later. Fine game of chess at the moment. This is being the metaphor that these drivers are on such degraded rubber, don't want to make a move that's going to understeer them into the other car, spin them and trying to boot it out the corner. They have to be so delicate with the throttle steering and the brakes at this point in the race. And Alexander Jakobsen is the next report who has retired from the race. Not sure entirely what happened to him, but he is out. Oh, and John Dowling. Oh, we switched away for a second, and John Dowling is was in the tyres. Oh, I'm so sorry we missed that. Something happened to him on the run up to the final corner. Oh, literally we switched away for a second and that happened. I'm so sorry, folks. But we'll have to find out later what happened to John Dowling. He was looking so good for a top 3 place. He's now gone into the hands of Jeff Perkis. He'll try his hands at second place as well. He breaks super late going into the triple. He's seizing the opportunity to try and take second place now, with no cars around him apart from Mark Hayman. Virginius Mazalinskas also retirement from this race. Dowling is in the pits, repairing the car or getting new tyres. Now back with Jeff Perkins, who had a good run coming out of McDonald's there. He's alongside and is going to make his way past. Into the S he goes. In front he goes. Mark Hayman back into third place, and a slowdown penalty for using track limits for John Dowling coming out of the pits. That might have happened. But Mark Hayman drops back down to third place with the charging Jeff Perkins today. We do have to submit our driver of the day today. And hopefully this time I don't miss anything that happens in the race. But you know what? I think purely for that heroic battling and 2 top 8s as it stands at the moment, someone who has really come to light in this race, hasn't had the greatest of results in leagues and races in previous weeks and months, but has had a tremendous night here battling with the guys at the front. I'm giving my drive of the day to Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. I know that says Jürgen, but I haven't got the on my English alphabet keyboard. But Jürgen Madsby Pedersen is my drive of the day today. Stunning driving from him, improved driving from him. Paul Hans trying it out with Mark Hayman. Hayman has dropped well off of Jeff Perkins. His tyres off considerably more, and Paul Hans up the inside of Mark Hayman. A rather forcible move, but gets in front, and Hayman is now knocked off the third step of the podium at the moment with 1 lap remaining. Has he overcooked his tyres? Because look how much Hans is pulling away from him. Maybe there might be some damage on his car as a result of what happened with him and Dowling earlier, maybe? Not entirely sure. Down to 4th place goes Hayman. Jeff Perkins is hooking up some big laps. Fastest lap, no, not fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race at the moment is Ben Payne. Rather incredibly. There's no bonus points, unfortunately, for him for fastest lap, so it's just an honour to him. But we were talking about Jeff Perkins' big lap. He's within 2.5 seconds of William Foyle. Not much time left to try and make it up, but William Foyle was 7/10 slower on that previous lap, but it doesn't matter. He's about to end this race as another race winner. The Foyles have foiled everyone yet again tonight. They did it at Brands Hatch Grand Prix for the 92s, and they've done it again tonight. A double race winner tonight. William Foyle. He bottled it on the final lap last time out 2 weeks ago, but he's got it this time. William Foyle wins the feature race here at Oschersleben. Oh, and there was something going on back there. Paul Hans went wide. Oh, and he's conceded third to Mark Hayman. Jeff Perkins finished second, by the way. Honours to him. But Mark Hayman inherits third place, rather like he did to William Foyle last week. But into third he goes. Paul Hans had it in his hands. No pun intended. But 4th for him. Alex Foyle with the penalty at the start. A great comeback to finish 5th place. Fair play to him. Ben Payne with fastest lap of the race. He'll come through in 6th place, right ahead of Ian Deeney there in 7th. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen will come through in 8th. He's our driver of the day. Great result for him today. Heike Navalov with a spin later on in the race. He was battling with the front runners for much of it, but recovers to 9th. Across the line he comes now. Roll TK right in front of John Dowling. Will take top 10 right in front of John Dowling, who, unlucky, we got to find out what happened to him later on. We'll report back to you next time we're on live with these DTM 2020s, but something happened to John Dowling in this race that's quite a shame to see. Petter Nyström, oh, something happened to him, but yeah, finished the race in 12th. Gabriel Lopez in 13th. But your race winner, William Foyle. Your race 1 winner as well, and your race 2 winner was Alex Foyle. But driver of the day today, Jürgen Madsby Pedersen. He gets a big honour of the GP box. Driver of the day, we're calling it. He doesn't get anything for it, but hopefully one day he will. but big honour to have, certainly in our leagues. So that's been the DTM 2020s here at Oschersleben. Let's just take a look at what's coming up next week. So we're done with round 4 of the overall, done with round 2 of both. We're on to round 3, nearing the halfway point. We're off to Zolder in Belgium on the 2nd of February, a week today, for the 1992s around there. 2 weeks today, we're back with these DTM 2020s at the Lauschitzring, the Dekra Lauschitzring Raceway. This has been the 2020 cars at Oschersleben. Do give us a subscribe wherever you're watching, Facebook, Twitch or YouTube. Do check out the links in our description for our sponsors and affiliates, the GP Box and Track Racer UK. I have been Alex Everett, and this has been the Crest Autosport Raceroom Leagues. Do join us on Facebook if you want to get involved in the action. Otherwise, we'll see you in a week today at Zolder for the DTM 92s. Thank you for watching.